So now we'll go on to the canter. We'll start with the trot and then ask for the canter left. So first, I'm just going to show what it's like if I just sit on top of the saddle and not making any effort to affect her canter. Her canter's nice. It's kind of long, right? Slow and long. And here, I'm going to start riding her a little bit better and riding her hind leg under. You can see she starts taking a little better step underneath herself with her hind leg. And here I'm riding kind of on top of her. You can see I'm almost leaning forward, right? So instead of sitting on her, I'm leaning forward. And then here, I'm trying to ride that hind leg under, ride the body of the horse with my body, not with my hand pulling her nose to her chest and my legs kicking. To really think about how my body sitting back can affect her and my seat. How much I move in my seat in the canter is how much she's going to move. Here, I'm making a smaller canter, making a shorter motion in my seat. And when I ask her to go forward, I'm going to make a very distinct scooping motion in my seat, asking her to come forward, forward and up. And then if I'm going to bring her back, the rhythm of my seat is going to change. So here I'm still going forward. Yep. So just like we did in the trot work, how you move your seat and hold yourself in the canter is also super important for the quality of your horse's gait, right? If you want them to be lighter in the bridle, you have to stop using the bridle to pull them onto the bit. You have to stop using the reins to pull them onto the bit. You have to balance them another way. You have to ride their hind leg under and bring their shoulder up and think of riding almost the saddle up the neck and really sitting on their hind legs. And here I'm making a smaller canter. And look, I give my hands. I'm not making the canter smaller by pulling on her. I'm making the canter smaller by making a smaller motion in my hip and sitting almost deeper in a way, right? And keeping my shoulders back and my core really engaged. Not a girl. To make a smaller motion in my hip, I have to really engage my core. And you can see she kind of brings her shoulders up. She makes covers less ground, and that's exactly what I want. And then when I ride her forward, I'm going to make more motion in my seat in the motion of the canter, right? To ask her to go more forward. So it's good to do similar transitions forward and back in the canter as you would do in the trot to walk. You can practice canter, trot, but sometimes it's better to, after you've done it in the walk and the trot, to just do it within the gait in the canter. And here again, I bring her to a smaller canter that she covers less ground. So I think of my seat as doing less, but that also means that I engage more. I don't just sit there and do nothing. My core is almost on fire. I have to think how, and here I'm showing I don't need my hands. Here she's above the bit. I don't need my hands. Here, my left hand is not even touching her. I have my reins in one hand, right? That I don't need my hand to bring her back. It's all coming back to my core. And then I can use my hands for suppleness and connection instead of using my hands to pull her onto the bit or to bring her back and make her canter smaller. And here I'm going quite a bit forward, right? And it's, again, good to practice going forward and then going back. There she was a little spicy. But going forward and coming back, not that you just ride the same canter all the time. While it's good to have a good steady canter, you do want to make sure your horse is listening to you and not just tuning you out. And the only way to know if your horse is listening is if they listen to transitions. There, you can watch my seat has a really defined way of using it. Here, I'm even suppling her right, showing I don't need to necessarily bend her to the left for her to canter small. I can put her head anywhere I want softly with my fingertips. And she's really just listening to my core and my seat saying smaller canter, smaller canter, smaller canter, right? I'm not using my right leg hard against her to make her do a pirouette. Right, my leg is soft, it's there, but it's not that I'm kickety kickety kick. And she's really following my seat. that I stay on top of her and not falling off left or right. So, your seat and your body aids are of utmost importance when you're riding dressage for this exact reason, because you want your horse to be able to listen to you. Okay, so now let's go. Stop recording. You can see a good walk here, also super important.